now at a point in our lives for making tremendous and important decisions. We started out with a solid foundation, and now we must remember that precious start. And it is my pleasure to welcome you, the members of the Board of Education, Superintendent Thomason, Dr. McMillan, faculty, friends, and families, to share in our memories as Dalton High School class of 1990 graduates. Significant aspects of our solid foundation are poise and peace. There can be no playing with words, no dodging of issues. It must be real. For poise can come only when we are sure that the reality is backing us. Poise is an outgrowth of inner faith. Will you please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance? May we pray. Dear God, we ask that you help us maintain this poise, peace, and faith in reaching our goals. Help us to realize that the self with its individual gifts, large or small, is too precious to be diverted from its purpose. Open our eyes, God, to the achievements of society as well as to the failures. Give us awareness and more appreciation for the tremendous distance we've come in such a very short time. May we understand that the only way to make things better is not by tearing down the old, for the old is remembered and precious to us, but help us to build up the new. Please, may we each see that we must first make something of ourselves before any of us will be able to make a better world. May we maintain these special aspects and unique qualities for a better world. And we give thanks for poise, peace, and faith. Help us use it, starting right now. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We came, we saw, and now we're ready to graduate. We're finally here. It's time for the class of 1990 at Dalton High School to graduate. To get here, it has taken us collectively over 3,000 school years, thousands of educators and books, interspersed, of course, by a few hundred girlfriends and boyfriends. And yet, we still made it. Over the many long years that we have spent getting to this moment in our lives, we have collected countless memories of our experiences. Let's remember a few highlights. Fall of 1986, our freshman year begins. For the first time, we could sit in that student section at Harmon Field. With football came the homecoming dance and a new level of anxiety and sheer terror. In time, we became familiar to the high school routine and even walked up the ramp. That year, we saw the entrance of a new figure, Dr. McMillan. From then on, we have become used to his familiar rumble on the intercom, and after the tardy bell, the words, "Let's go now, hustle up, get to class." Our sophomore year brought us many other new experiences. Finally, we could legally operate a motor vehicle, and with driving came new land speed records, speeding tickets, and then, of course, higher insurance rates. We had our first, but not last, bomb threat, which just about gave us frostbite. And we cannot forget the snowfall that year that gave us 5 days out of school. As juniors, we got our class rings and popped a few freshmen with them. On a few Saturday mornings, we arrived here at the high school to take the SATs in an attempt to prove that we could bubble in forms, sometimes in funny shapes. Our names, family pets, just whatever came to our mind. Well, so much for our junior year. Then came our senior year, along with all its senior privileges, which were thoroughly abused by the underclassmen. We found a new excuse for a holiday this year: flooding. We applied to colleges, got accepted by some, got rejected by others. We had our senior walk-in, senior party, and even a 3-time state championship golf team this year. This year, we found a new idol, Bart Simpson. Now we have our own graduation. Some of our memories are happy ones, and some are sad ones. But as graduating seniors, let us become a little bit childlike for a few moments. That is to say, let us remember only the good times, no matter how much or little, how long or short that may be, so that when we graduate here tonight, we can graduate with smiles on our faces and as one class, the class of 1990.
I could not but remember such things were that were most precious to me. This quote from William Shakespeare's play Macbeth causes me to reflect on the good and special times in my life, especially the memories at Dalton High School. Sure, we've all had bad times, but we remember all the happy, funny, and crazy times we have shared with our friends and teachers. Now you may say, teachers? How could we have had good times with them? And why remember them? Surely you can recall, I certainly can, when a teacher has done or said something that made you realize, hey, this is a real person, not just a teacher. These are the times we found out about the people who have nurtured us, believed in us, and encouraged us. Thinking instead of just doing, learning from our mistakes, and being the best we can be. This is the kind of leadership they have provided. Our English teachers taught us to say exactly what we mean. If we think about the quote from Shakespeare and the word precious, we may say, precious? I don't believe that is the word I would use to describe my memories of Dalton High. But as you know, pleasant memories are of great value to us for future reference. People are always recalling those high school days when everything was going their way, life was great, and all they thought about was their next date and when they were going to graduate. Now we can look back on our time at Dalton High and all those precious memories. When we first walked in the big front doors as freshmen, looking awkwardly around at all the big seniors and wondering if we looked as stupid as we felt. Then looking at the ramp, wondering if we should risk our little freshman lives amongst all the upperclassmen. Would we really be put in a trash can and rolled down the ramp? Then as sophomores, we became thankful that we were not freshmen anymore, and we got the idea that now it was almost time to drive a car. Maybe it was with our parents, and maybe we did feel like a geek, but we were still closer to 16 with that precious license to drive. As a junior, we had the privileges of upperclassmen with the freedom of driving a car. We did not have to worry about college, money, or courses we needed to take to graduate, but we did still long to be a senior. Now, finally, we graduate and start those lives that we've been contemplating the past 9 months. We are here tonight with our many fond memories, ready to take that all-important step from the place where friendships have begun and have grown, identities have been formed, knowledge has been exchanged and learned, to places where all of these attributes can be used for a successful life out there in the big world. We, the class of 1990, are about to cross this stage to signify that we have graduated from the primary level of learning known as high school to the more complex level of learning, life. Upon reaching the other side of this stage, we will rush forth to meet the challenges of tomorrow and strive to conquer them with the knowledge we have gained today. As we sit here tonight, each one of us remembers happy memories and soon discovers that all the bad days and all the trying moments have disappeared. We now look back to a place filled only with youth, with laughter, and with friends. If asked to recall a precious memory, each one of us might remember a school dance, a favorite summer, or a sporting event. We might recall hangouts and trends, or perhaps a favorite book, a favorite phrase. But as time passes by, we forget the score of the football game, and we forget what we wore to the senior prom. We only remember that at the time, they were precious, and at the time, they were significant. We now pass on to a more profound level of remembrance. We now remember what it was like to understand something for the first time, and we now remember the exciting passion of youthful idealism. We remember the feeling of brotherhood as we pulled together as a class, as a community, and as a world to improve our environment and to preserve a planet where future generations may someday make their own memories. We also remember the hope and jubilation as we watched Eastern Europe tear down the Iron Curtain, and we remember realizing how precious freedom is as we witnessed old dictatorships fall to new democracies. We remember the hours of diligence dedicated to academic excellence, and we remember the old friends, the proud parents, and the inspirational teachers that graduate along with us tonight. Whether it was global or local, we all learned something about ourselves, about each other, and about universal truth from the lessons we have learned and from the moments that have passed. Yes, tonight we make a transition, and tonight is a night for memories. But we must not look back with sadness, nor should we merely forget these memories. But instead, we must remember these experiences with thoughtfulness, with knowledge, and with gratitude, because it is these memories that have made us what we are today, and it is these memories that will influence us in our decisions tomorrow. Tonight, we begin a new adventure, an adventure that will lead us to new places, introduce us to new people, and expand our minds to new dimensions. We are on the threshold of our future, and we must greet it wholeheartedly. Let us not live for our memories, but let us remember the hopes and the dreams that are important to us. Let us use what we find precious to make these dreams come true.
No matter how long a journey or how hard it is to obtain our goals, let us always remember our youthful aspirations, and let us always keep the belief that we can make them a reality. As we cross this stage tonight, we are all uncertain about what the future will bring, but we all know that we must each pursue our individual dreams and leave our own mark on the world. So tonight, let us take with us our precious moments of today, not to put in a hope chest, but to guide us in our pursuit for individual excellence and to use as tools for building a better tomorrow. Because tomorrow, we face the world as graduates, and we must use the past to give us inspiration and conviction to change apathy to passion, prejudice to acceptance, and ignorance to wisdom.
As graduation is very much the end of our experience in high school, it is also the beginning of the chance to actualize the future that we have dreamed of. Looking forward somewhat eagerly and somewhat anxiously to the future that awaits us, we realize how many new experiences we may encounter. Whether we decide to pursue these experiences or to flee from them is an individual choice that all of us will have to make many times during our lives. But I feel that we have been given a solid foundation on which to make these decisions. Teachers, counselors, administrators, and parents have constantly presented us with opportunities during our high school years, and it is important that we recognize these people for their efforts. The math teacher that gives partial credit on tests, the business teacher that allows an occasional day to make up missed work, the English teacher that won't let you just get by in class, the science teacher that makes labs interesting, the foreign language teacher that inspires you, making you want to speak with the correct accent, the history teacher that is capable of making even the Black Plague humorous, the fine arts teacher that encourages a person who thought that he had no talent, the special coaches and club sponsors who really learn to interact with students, the counselors who help us through crises concerning everything from relationships to colleges, and the parents who have seen us grow up through all of it. All of these people have made contributions to our character and consequently to our lives. In a speech that he wrote several years ago, Mr. Butch Couch said, "Today, set your goals high. Dream impossible dreams for your accomplishments. Develop habits of winning, of achievement, of success. And these habits will follow you for the rest of your life." I feel that the faculty and administration here at Dalton High School have started these habits for us. And now, as graduating young men and women, it is our obligation to continue these habits. And we are glad to have the opportunity to say thank you.
It's now in a time in the program when we would honor some of these that have had outstanding accomplishments. There are far too many things to be said for us to say them all, and far too many people to be honored for us to honor them all. But we've selected some that will give you some idea of the outstanding accomplishment of this class. Accomplishment and commitment, I might add. The people I'm going to call out now are those who have come to school regularly for a lot of years. You don't get education unless you're in school. And this class, above the classes that I've seen in the 4 years, has been in school more than anybody I know. As I call your name, please just stand and then be seated when I call the next name. Alphabetical order and not necessarily in order of years. Brandon Bray, 4 years, perfect attendance. Gene Birchfield, 6 years, perfect attendance. James Burnett, 4 years, perfect attendance. Kim Chapman, 4 years, perfect attendance. Angela Coker, 5 years, perfect attendance. Avery Coker, 4 years, perfect attendance. Clay Dunn, 7 years, perfect attendance. Michaela Ellis, 5 years, perfect attendance. Sean Fain, 5 years, perfect attendance. Heather Faith, 5 years, perfect attendance. Adam Foster, 4 years, perfect attendance. Kathy Gibson, 5 years, perfect attendance. Chris Hendry, 5 years, perfect attendance. Daphne Hobbs, 4 years, perfect attendance. Kelly Hopkins, 7 years, perfect attendance. Francis Lawrence, 4 years, perfect attendance. Dusty McClure, 6 years, perfect attendance. John Meek, 5 years, perfect attendance. Meredith Otts, 7 years, perfect attendance. Maurice Parks, 6 years, perfect attendance. Kim Phillips, 4 years, perfect attendance. Robin Phillips, 6 years, perfect attendance. Todd Pullen, 4 years, perfect attendance. George Ramsey, 4 years, perfect attendance. Mark Rivers, 4 years, perfect attendance. Andrea Rogers, 4 years, perfect attendance. Felix Simpson, 4 years, perfect attendance. Chris Sloan, 5 years, perfect attendance. Stan Smith, 5 years, perfect attendance. Yvonne Sosa, 5 years, perfect attendance. Mitch Souther, 4 years, perfect attendance. Derek Steele, 7 years, perfect attendance. Mark Swilly, 4 years, perfect attendance. Mike Thomas, 7 years, perfect attendance. Dana Wall, 4 years, perfect attendance. Crystal White, 6 years, perfect attendance. Jairus Barrett, 2 days short of 12 days perfect attendance. 12 years perfect attendance, pardon me, Jairus. Jairus is something. He missed 2 days in the 3rd grade. And our perfect attendance champion this year is John Bartley with 12 complete years of perfect attendance. John received for that a $400 scholarship and a nice plaque, and we're proud of him. And by the way, his perfect attendance is reflected in his outstanding achievement. We're going to do something different this year. Never retired the old attendance flag before, but homeroom 12F, will you please stand up? Homeroom 12F, out of 18 possible months the last 2 years, has won the attendance banner 17 months. We're going to retire the attendance banner in your honor, 12F. Thank you very much. That's quite something, by the way, for a senior homeroom to have that kind of attendance, a junior and senior homeroom. All right, this year we also had 5 Georgia Scholars. Annually, this school places in the top 4 or 5 schools in Georgia, high schools in Georgia, in the percentage of Georgia Scholars. And 5 will do that for us again this year. Please stand as I call your name. Georgia Scholars receive $6,000 worth of scholarships to the Georgia school of their choice if they so choose to go to a school in Georgia. John Bartley, please remain standing, the 5 of you. Edward Yim, Mary Fordham, Scott Shaw, Brian Grizel. Georgia Scholars this year. Thank you. Students with the blue collar on are members of our National Honor Society. They've been through 4 years of outstanding academic achievement. Would you please stand, National Honor Society, each person. In addition to the National Honor Society, we honor persons called honor graduates. Our honor graduates tonight are designated by having a red honor cord around their shoulders. Would those of you who are honor graduates please stand? Last fall, the class of 1969 at homecoming honored their principal, Mr. Robert D. Cox, by making a contribution to the Dalton Education Foundation in his name. Mr. Cox was principal of this high school from 68 through 72. He was then superintendent of Dalton Public Schools from 75 through 87. As you know, he is now the executive director of the Dalton Education Foundation and, frankly, very ill. The Board of Trustees of the Foundation voted to use the money that this class honored him with to purchase $100 savings bonds for every one of our honor graduates tonight, that last group that I just had stand. These bonds will be known as the Cox Bonds. Each honor graduate will receive a letter in his or her diploma, which will tell them that within a week they'll receive a $100 bond in the mail from the Dalton Education Foundation. We are grateful for the generosity of the class of 1969, and we congratulate Mr. Cox on being so honored. We further challenge this class to not forget what that class has done in your honor, and don't forget to do that when you come back. That's a very touching thing to do. It's a very correct thing to do, and you can participate in a graduating senior's encouragement when you get your time to come back to this school, and we do invite you back on that. Allie Caldwell, Lions Club Scholarship. Jason Clark, Golf Scholarship, NC State. Paula Diamond, Rotary Club Vocational Scholarship. Jennifer Friedman, UDC Scholarship, National Honor Society Scholarship. Heather Faith, Carson Newman Academic Scholarship, Barry Patterson Memorial Scholarship. Rebecca Green, Oglethorpe University Scholarship, Oglethorpe Christian Scholarship, UDC Scholarship. Brian Griselle, Tom Jones Scholarship, Furman Scholarship, Georgia Scholar. Jimmy Hoskins, Truett McConnell College Baseball Scholarship. Leanne Hughes, Rotary Club Scholarship, Georgia Press Association Scholarship, Henry W. Grady School of Journalism, University of Georgia Alumni Scholarship. Kimberly Hutchison, Florida State University Music Scholarship, Student Council Scholarship. Kelly Hopkins, Berry College Music Scholarship. Michelle Eisenhower, Local Business Scholarship, American Business Women's Association Scholarship, Janice Griffin Moore Memorial Scholarship. Jeff Jones, Textile Educational Foundation Scholarship, Georgia Tech. Brett James, Dalton College Professional Travel Scholarship. Robin Jolly, Rotary Club English Scholarship, Kenneth Finkel Memorial Scholarship, Queens College Presidential Scholarship, worth $48,000, I might add. Krista Johnson, Georgia Tech Textile Engineering Scholarship. John Meek, Kiwanis Foreign Language Scholarship, UDC Scholarship, Dorothy McCrory Scholarship. David Knoll, Columbus College Golf Scholarship. Mary Manley, Pilot Club Scholarship, Music Grant. Anel Paranas, Class of 1959 Scholarship. Mark Rivers, Ruby Foster Memorial Scholarship. Cindy Rogers, UDC Scholarship. Stephen Roberts, Football Scholarship, University of Georgia. Christy Rollins, Francis and Mac Baker Fine Arts Scholarship, Kiwanis Club Foreign Language Award, Exchange Club Youth of the Year Scholarship. Wyatt Rollins, Golf Scholarship, Georgia Tech. Gretchen Scott, Chick-fil-A Scholarship, University of Georgia Academic Scholarship. Stanton Smith, Kelly Metcalf Memorial Scholarship. Scott Shaw, Georgia Scholar, Mitchell & Mitchell Scholarship, Burl Scoggins Memorial Scholarship. Melanie Thompson, Anchor Club Scholarship, Carpet City Kiwanis Club Scholarship. Dana Wall, Alfred Jones Memorial Scholarship, French Scholarship, Student Council Scholarship. Stephen White, Golf Scholarship to Clemson University. Over $300,000. Everybody in this class that got a scholarship wasn't called out because they didn't all turn in their names. This is an incredible accomplishment for this class. A class this size. I'd like for us to give them a round of applause, please. This year, for the first time that I can find that this has ever happened, we're going to honor a salutatorian and valedictorian. For those of you who are not familiar with this award, it's strictly based on academic average. In our school, it's based on weighted grade point average. It's purely mathematical. It doesn't say that one of these is better than the other. In fact, in this case that we're going to have tonight, we're talking about differences in the third decimal place in averages after 4 years. Incredible performance by many people in this class. But we're going to point out the two top scholars in this class tonight, salutatorian being the second scholar. The second grade point average in the class of 1990 is to Robin Jolly. And our top grade point average in the class of 1990 goes to Edward Yim. Valedictorian.
Michelle Diane Capnett. John W. Hedden. Leanne Marie Hughes. Robin Rebecca Jolly. Mark Patton Rivers. Dana Suzanne Wall. Angela Marie Whitener. Edward Chang Huck Yim. Mevelyn Nanette Abbott. Kenneth G. Abrams. David Arthur Adams. Kenneth Rodney Adams, Jr. Mandy Lee Albertson. Cynthia Levon Alexander. Heather Lynn Asbury. Fred Marshall Avett III. William Whitley Barclay. Jason Caldwell Barrett. Jairus Ellis Barrett, Jr. John Harrison Bartley. James Dixon Belk, Jr. Heidi Diane Blumenhaus. Julia Elizabeth Bolden. Linda Susan Bolden. Crystal Lynette Boer. Jason Doss Bramlett. Brandon Scott Bray. Laurie Elizabeth Brent. Alan Ray Brown. Jean Birchfield. James Keith Burnett. Christopher Thomas Cady. Alessandra Dwyer Caldwell. John Carl Campbell. Erica Diane Cannon. Brent Allen Chadwick. Victoria Beth Chandler. Kay Lynn Chapman. Kimberly Lee Chapman. William Jason Clark. Chadwick Brian Cochran. Angela Michelle Coker. Douglas Avery Coker. Christine Michelle Collins. Alicia Michelle Cook. Thomas Marcellus Cornwell. Christina Lynn Crawford. Eric Gerard Curtis, Wendell H. Curtis, Paula Michelle Diamond, Danny Allen Dickey, Clayton Edward Dunn, David Christopher Dunn, Shannon B. Dykus, John Edward Elliott, Laura Lee Ellis, Michaela Louise Ellis, Philip Anthony Elrod, Regina Ann Elrod, Sean Marissa Fain, Heather Leah Faith, Robert J. Ferris, Jr., Charles Dwayne Fennell, Lori Beth Filson, Blake Edward Floyd, Mary Ritchie Fordham, Adam Lee Foster, Paul Warner Francis, Jennifer Ann Friedman, Sheena Renee Freeman, Stacy Leanne Frost, Juanita Hinojosa Garcia, Christina Denise Gentry, Kathy Michelle Gibson, Rebecca Claire Green, Christy Michelle Gribble, Brian Weaver Land Grizel, Demarius Caron Hall, Philip W. Hall, Charles Jeffrey Ham, Elizabeth V. Harrison, Cassie Marie Hedrick, Christopher West Hendry, John Richard Henry, Lisa Ann Henry, Virginia Hernandez, Lisa Ann Hill, Daphne Lee Hobbs, Kelly Diane Hopkins, James Douglas Hoskins, Dennis Ronald Houston, Kimberly Dawn Hutchison, Jennifer Lynn Ingram, Hannah Michelle Eisenhower, Amy Denise Jaco, Brett Miles James, Forrest Freeman Jaquith, Krista Ann Johnson, Catherine Lee Joyner, Wiley Jefferson Jones III, Bradley Jean Kerbaugh, Karen Annette Kerr, Chris J. Kearse, Ronald Rogers Kirby, Tanya Deneen Cottrell, James Herschel Kling, English Michelle Knight, Sean Scott Lance, Jonquil Fontana Leak. Jennifer Love. Earl Warren Lusk, Jr. Mary Ruth Manley. Belinda Denise Martin. Lori Lynn Martin. Billy Mathis, Jr. Sherida Lee MacArthur. Cecil Monroe McClure III. Jason Chapman McDill. Lorena Grace McGregory. Lisa Michelle McHenry. Tracy Denise McHenry. Stephanie Ann McKenzie. Stacy Yvette McSears. John Bussey Meek. William Leo Miller III. Olita Mariette Mitchell. Christopher Michael Morgan. Rhonda Michelle Morris. Matthew Lee Morrison. Richard Edward Neely. Thomas Andrew Neal. David Allen Knoll, Jr. Hyde Parker Norton. Margaret Elizabeth Neiswander. David Michael O'Brien. Emily Nichelle O'Neill. Meredith Elaine Otts. Cassandra Lee Overton. Chad Jason Paget. James Robert Painter II. Selena Faye Parker. Christopher Maurice Parks. Anel L. Paranis. Heather Ann Payne. Charles Stanley Pennington. Kimberly Ann Phillips. R. Nicholas Phillips. David Mallory Price. Christopher Todd Pullen. Tanya Allison Pullen. Tammy Dawn Putnam. George Lamar Ramsey. Jessica Marnay Redwine. Stephen Wade Roberts. Amy Denise Robertson. Cynthia Denise Rogers. Andrea Leah Rogers. Kristen Eleanor Rollins. Henderson Wyatt Rollins. Thaddeus Shadell Ronceville. Wendy Jean Roy. William D. Sanders, Jr. Gary L. Scott, Jr. Gretchen Leslie Scott. Jennifer Lynn Sessions. Robert Dion Sharp. Scott Morgan Shaw. John C. Shepard, Angela Carey Schaffner, David J. Siegel, Felix A. Simpson, Mark G. Sims, Christopher Mark Sloan, Mark Kevin Smith, Michael Wayne Smith, Stanton J. Smith, John Robert Sarles, Yvonne M. Sosa, Mitchell D. Souther, William Theodore Sproul, Wendell Lee Squillario, Jason L. Stanley, Amy Darlene Starks, Tanya Bedelia Starks, Kenneth Dodd Starling, Christy Delane Staten, Derek Dwayne Steele, Holly Renee Steele, Wanda Desi Stevens, Marcus Chester Swilly, Sean M. Tanberg, Amy Danielle Taylor, Scott D. Taylor, Michael Allen Thomas, Melanie Melissa Thompson, Leanne Teresa Thurman, Chiquita Michelle Tibbs, Karen Loretta Tibbs, George Stephen Townsend Jr., Melissa B. Vaughn, Dirk R.C. Verhoof, Alan Edens Ward III, Tracy Leanne Ware, Emmanuel Keith Washington, Frances Marie Washington, Johnny Lewis Washington, Melissa Ann Washington, Carmen Michelle Wells, Tina Leanne West, George Editor Wheat Jr., Crystal J. White, James Stephen White Jr., Georgiana Kathleen Wiggs, David Joss Wilburn, Laurel Melinda Williams, Leslie Dawn Wood, Melanie Catherine Woody, Brandy Michelle Wyrick, Tracy Lee Yarbrough, Tyrone Famber, Laurie Michelle Hopper,
Would you please stand and join me in singing the alma mater and remain standing for the benediction?
May we pray? Dear God, you have seen and heard us review our time together and receive our diplomas, which are emblematic of our accomplishments of 4 years at Dalton High School. We ask that you give us the strength, confidence, and tenacity to continue our lives in a manner that is caring and productive for us and the world. Go with us now and bless us as we leave and continue our search for even greater understanding. Amen.